I, 28F, never thought I would be writing something like this, but here I am. My husband Gabriel, 32M, and I have been married for 4 years now, together for 7. We met through his best friend Edward, 33M, at a local music festival where Edward's then girlfriend Samantha, 29F, was performing with her band. Gabriel and I hit it off immediately. He was charming, funny, and we shared a love for music. He told me he used to play drums in college but gave it up to focus on his career in marketing. Edward and Gabriel had been friends since college, where they were roommates. When Edward started dating Samantha 3 years ago, we all began hanging out together as couples whenever Samantha wasn't busy with her band commitments. Samantha was talented and ambitious. She had started her band right after college and had built quite a following in our city. I always admired her dedication to music, even though we weren't particularly close friends. Gabriel and I had what I thought was a perfect marriage. We rarely fought, shared the same interests, and had been planning to start a family next year. We even had a joint savings account where we were putting money away for a house down payment. Gabriel worked in marketing while I had a stable job in human resources. We had a comfortable life, good friends, and supportive families. Last week, we attended Edward and Samantha's wedding. The ceremony was beautiful, held in a historic venue downtown. Samantha had insisted on having her band perform at the reception instead of hiring another band, which everyone thought was a unique and personal touch. About an hour before the reception, Samantha announced that their drummer Mike had called in sick with food poisoning. That's when Gabriel offered to step in, saying he still remembered enough from his college days to handle their set list. Everyone thought it was so sweet. Edward was especially grateful, saying Gabriel had saved the day. The performance was amazing, Samantha's voice was incredible, and Gabriel seemed to fit in perfectly with the band. I remember feeling proud watching my husband up there, thinking how lucky I was to have someone so talented and helpful. The reception ended around midnight, but Gabriel stayed behind saying he needed to help pack up the equipment since he had used Mike's drums. I was tired, so I took an Uber home while Gabriel said he would catch a ride with one of the band members. I didn't think anything of it at the time. The next morning changed everything. I woke up to over 50 missed calls and countless messages. Someone had posted a video online that was spreading like wildfire through our social circle. The video was from the venue security camera, showing the parking lot after the reception. It clearly showed Samantha, still in her wedding dress, and Gabriel in an intimate moment behind the venue's delivery entrance. They were kissing, but it was their conversation that destroyed me. Samantha, we need to be more careful. Edward and Emma can't find out. Gabriel, I know. These past 2 years have been hard, sneaking around. Samantha, maybe after the honeymoon, we can figure something out. Gabriel, I love you. I hate sharing you with him. 2 years. They had been having an affair for 2 years, right under our noses. All those times Gabriel filled in for Mike when he was sick, it was just an excuse. I felt physically sick. Every memory of our double dates, every time I watched Samantha perform while Gabriel watched adoringly, every song I thought was about her love for Edward, it was all a lie. I confronted Gabriel when he finally came home that morning. He looked hungover and confused until I showed him the video. The color drained from his face, and he broke down crying. He confessed everything, how it started when he began filling in for Mike occasionally, how they would meet for band practice when really they were having an affair, how they had fallen in love but neither wanted to hurt Edward or me. I called Edward immediately. He was supposed to leave for his honeymoon that morning, a 2-week trip to Hawaii that he had been planning for months. When I told him about the video, there was just silence on the other end. I sent it to him, and within an hour, he was at our house. Samantha had apparently confessed everything when he confronted her. Their honeymoon was cancelled, and Edward looked like his world had ended. I knew exactly how he felt. Gabriel's family is divided over this whole mess. His parents, who have been married for 40 years and believe marriage is sacred no matter what, think we should try counseling. They keep telling me that everyone makes mistakes and that throwing away a marriage over one indiscretion is hasty. They obviously don't know it wasn't just one time, it was a 2-year affair. Gabriel's sister Lisa, 35F, is the only one from his family supporting me. She caught her ex-husband cheating years ago, so she understands what I'm going through. My own family is furious. My brother wanted to drive down and confront Gabriel, but I talked him out of it. My parents, who had treated Gabriel like a son, are heartbroken. They keep asking if there were signs they missed, if they could have warned me somehow. I've already contacted a divorce lawyer. Gabriel is staying with his parents now. I told him to get out of our house. Edward is staying with his brother, and I heard Samantha moved in with her band's bassist. The video has been taken down now, but everyone knows what happened. Our phones keep ringing with calls from friends and family, all wanting details or offering support. I don't even know how to process this betrayal. Every happy memory from the past 2 years is now tainted. Was he thinking of her on our last anniversary when he wrote me that sweet card? Was he messaging her last Christmas when we were at my parents' house and he kept checking his phone? How many other lies have I believed? The divorce papers will be ready next week. Gabriel keeps trying to call me, but I've blocked him everywhere. His sister Lisa is keeping me updated on anything I need to know. I know this is just the beginning of what's going to be a messy divorce, but I can't stay married to someone who could betray me like this. To make it worse, he didn't just cheat, he did it with our friend's wife, on their wedding day, and now everyone knows about it. Update 1: I didn't think this situation could get any worse, but somehow it has. The past 2 weeks have been absolute chaos, and I need to get this off my chest. Last weekend, Samantha's band had a scheduled performance at the Blue Room, one of the biggest venues in our city. I only knew about it because Lisa, Gabriel's sister, warned me that Gabriel had been telling everyone he was going to be there. Apparently, he's been claiming that since Samantha and Edward's marriage was effectively over, there was no reason for him and Samantha to hide their relationship anymore. What Gabriel didn't know was that Edward had planned to go to the venue that night too. He needed to collect some of Samantha's things from their apartment but didn't want to see her alone, so he figured he'd do it while she was performing. He had told their landlord he was coming and got permission to enter their apartment. I only know all this because Edward has been keeping me updated. We formed an odd friendship through this shared trauma. The show was supposed to start at 8 p.m. Edward went to their apartment around 7:30, expecting Samantha to be at the venue already. Instead, he found Gabriel and Samantha in the apartment together. From what Edward told me later, Gabriel had been helping Samantha pack her essential things because she was planning to move in with him. Edward lost it. He had already been drinking, who can blame him? And seeing them together in the apartment he had shared with Samantha, surrounded by their wedding gifts that hadn't even been unpacked yet, was too much. The neighbors called the police when they heard shouting and things breaking. By the time the police arrived, the fight had spilled out into the venue's parking lot. Samantha was screaming at both of them to stop, still wearing her stage outfit. The band's bassist tried to intervene and got punched by Gabriel. Edward and Gabriel both spent the night in jail, and the whole thing made the local news because Samantha's band has a pretty big following in our area. The headline read "Local band's performance cancelled after love triangle brawl." The article mentioned the wedding video scandal, and now everyone knows every detail of our private lives. I've had to shut down all my social media accounts because I keep getting messages from strangers. Some are supportive, but others are actually defending Gabriel and Samantha, calling it a love story and saying you can't help who you fall in love with. It makes me sick. The worst part came after I started getting messages from Samantha's fans. Someone had pieced together that several of her band's most popular songs were about Gabriel. Songs I used to love, songs I had on my workout playlist, songs I sang along to in the car, they were all about my husband. There's one called Secret Drummer that was released last year that I now realize is literally about their affair. The lyrics about beating hearts in rhythm and playing our secret song, how did I not see it? Gabriel's parents showed up at my office yesterday. They somehow got past reception and cornered me in the break room, telling me I needed to stop this vindictive behavior and take Gabriel back. They said that clearly Gabriel and Samantha have a special connection and that I should be mature enough to understand that sometimes marriages need to evolve. My boss had to escort them out, and now everyone at work knows about my personal drama. My boss was understanding, but I'm mortified. The most devastating revelation came from Lisa. She ran into Mike, the band's actual drummer, at a coffee shop. Turns out, Mike never actually missed any performances due to illness or other commitments. The whole band had been covering for Gabriel and Samantha's affair for 2 years. They would deliberately schedule emergency replacements so Gabriel could fill in. The bassist even kept lookout during their practice sessions to make sure no one walked in on them. Every single person in that band knew. They watched me attend their shows, cheer for them, buy their merchandise, all while knowing my husband was sleeping with their lead singer. They even invited us to their group barbecues and holiday parties, probably laughing at how oblivious Edward and I were. I asked Lisa why Mike confessed all this, and apparently, he's feeling guilty because his wife is one of my coworkers. She's been bringing me coffee and checking on me at work, and he couldn't handle the guilt anymore. At least someone has a conscience. Gabriel tried to send me flowers at work today with a note saying he's sorry for the public embarrassment but that maybe everything happened this way for a reason. I threw them in the dumpster behind the building. His mother called to yell at me for wasting perfectly good flowers and told me I was being petty. I finally blocked their numbers. The divorce proceedings are moving forward, but it's going to be messier than I thought. Gabriel is trying to claim that some of our joint assets should go to paying the band's legal fees for the cancelled show. My lawyer says he doesn't have a leg to stand on, but it's still infuriating that he's even trying. Edward called me last night. We talked for hours about how surreal this all feels. He's planning to file for annulment since technically, Samantha was cheating right up to and including their wedding day. His lawyer thinks he has a strong case, especially with the video evidence. I'm trying to stay strong, but some days it's hard to even get out of bed. The only thing keeping me going is knowing that I deserve better than a husband who could do this to me, and that karma seems to be doing its job. Gabriel and Samantha's great love story is now tainted by a mugshot and a viral video of their infidelity. Update 2: I thought I had uncovered all of Gabriel's lies, but I was wrong. While gathering documents for the divorce proceedings, I decided to go through our financial records in detail. What I found made me physically ill. Over the past 2 years, Gabriel had been systematically draining our joint savings account. We had been saving for a house down payment, and I kept track of our monthly deposits, but I rarely checked the withdrawals because I trusted him to handle our investments. That trust was clearly misplaced. Gabriel had spent over $45,000 of our savings on Samantha and her band. He bought her a custom guitar worth $12,000 for her birthday last year, when he told me he was investing in stocks. He helped fund their band's latest album, $20,000 that he claimed was going into our retirement fund. He even paid for their band's promotional trips, which I now realize were just romantic getaways for them. The worst part? He used $8,000 from my grandmother's inheritance that I had specifically saved for fertility treatments. We had been planning to start trying for a baby next year, and he knew how important this was to me. When I confronted him through our lawyers, he had the audacity to claim these were all business investments in the band's future. Edward reached out to me last week with more news. Samantha moved out of the bassist's place and is now living with Gabriel at his parents' house. They're not even trying to hide their relationship anymore. They've started a joint Instagram account where they're documenting their musical journey together. They're planning to start their own band, calling themselves Star-Crossed. The level of delusion is astounding. Their social media posts make me sick. They're trying to paint themselves as victims of circumstance, two artists who couldn't deny their connection. Samantha posted a long message about how sometimes love finds you at the wrong time and how music brought them together. Gabriel shared it with the caption, "Finally free to make music with my soulmate." The comments are full of their supporters calling it romantic. These people clearly don't understand the devastation they've caused. Gabriel's parents are fully supporting them now. They've converted their garage into a music studio for Gabriel and Samantha to practice in. His mother even had the nerve to tell Lisa that Samantha is the musical partner Gabriel always needed and that I held him back from his true calling. This from the woman who used to call me daughter and begged me to give Gabriel another chance. The divorce proceedings have hit a snag because Gabriel is fighting for half of everything, including my inheritance. His lawyer is trying to argue that since we commingled some of the inheritance money in our joint account, it should be considered marital property. My lawyer says we have a strong case, especially with the evidence of how he misused joint funds, but it's still causing delays. Samantha's band officially announced her departure last week. They're continuing with a new lead singer, and surprisingly, they're doing better than ever. Their first single without her hit local radio, and it's actually really good. Edward told me the new song is about betrayal. Apparently the remaining band members weren't as supportive of Samantha's choices as I thought. The most ridiculous part of all this is that Gabriel and Samantha have started a GoFundMe to raise money for their new band. In the description, they've actually written about how they're rising from the ashes of judgment and misunderstanding. They're trying to raise $50,000 for equipment and studio time. So far, they've raised $125, mostly from Gabriel's parents. I've stopped checking their social media, but mutual friends keep sending me screenshots, thinking I should know what they're saying. Yesterday, Samantha posted old photos from Edward's wedding, carefully cropped to remove Edward and me, talking about how it was the day they stopped hiding their love. The complete lack of shame or remorse is staggering. Edward's annulment was granted last week, which gives me hope that my divorce will go through soon too. He's doing better, he started dating again and seems happier. We still meet for coffee sometimes to talk about everything. It helps to have someone who understands exactly what this feels like. I just want this to be over. I want to stop finding new ways that my husband betrayed me. I want to stop discovering new lies. Most of all, I want to stop being known as the woman whose husband fell in love with the bride at a wedding. I'm more than their victim, and I'm ready to move on with my life, as soon as the courts let me. Update 3: Finally, I have some good news to share. The divorce was finalized last week, and the outcome was better than I expected. When my lawyer presented the evidence of Gabriel's financial misconduct, especially how he misused our joint savings and my inheritance money, His lawyer advised him to settle. I got to keep the house, my entire inheritance, and he's required to pay back half of the money he spent on Samantha and her band. Gabriel tried to contest it initially, claiming he had contributed significantly to our marital assets through his musical investments. The judge wasn't impressed, especially after seeing the documentation of how he had hidden his spending. He got to keep his precious drums and music equipment, which is fine by me. I never want to hear him play again anyway. Samantha and Gabriel's new band, Star-Crossed, is failing spectacularly. They managed to book 3 gigs in the past month. The first one was cancelled when the venue owner found out about their history. The second had only 15 people show up, mostly Gabriel's family. The third ended with them being booed off stage when someone in the crowd started playing their wedding video on their phone. Most venues in town refused to book them. Turns out, the local music scene is pretty tight-knit, and no one wants to work with people who would betray their bandmates and spouses like that. Gabriel's now working at his father's car dealership because no marketing firm will hire him. The wedding scandal video comes up whenever employers Google his name. Edward has become one of my closest friends through all of this. We've helped each other heal, and it's nice to have someone who truly understands what we went through. He's actually dating one of my colleagues now, and they seem really happy together. Samantha tried to claim he was moving on too fast, which is rich coming from someone who cheated throughout their engagement. Gabriel's parents finally stopped harassing me after I had my lawyers send them a cease and desist letter. They were showing up at my workplace and telling everyone who would listen that I drove their son into another woman's arms by not supporting his music. The final straw was when they tried to claim rights to visit the children we never had, saying they had emotional grandparent attachments to our future kids. My lawyer shut that down quickly. I got an amazing job offer in Seattle last month, and I took it. The company is covering relocation costs, and I start in 6 weeks. Edward is helping me pack up the house. I'm selling most of the furniture because I want a fresh start. The only things I'm keeping are my personal belongings and a few family heirlooms. Lisa, Gabriel's sister, is the only one from his family I'm staying in touch with. She told me that Samantha and Gabriel had a huge fight last week because their GoFundMe only raised $800 in total, mostly from his parents. Samantha apparently expected Gabriel to have more savings to fund their musical journey. When she found out he spent most of his money on her during their affair, she accused him of being financially irresponsible. The irony would be funny if it wasn't so sad. My going away party is next weekend, organized by my real friends, the ones who stood by me through everything. Samantha's old band is actually performing at it. They offered to do it for free. Their new song about betrayal has become quite popular locally, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy that bit of karma. I'm ready for my fresh start in Seattle. New city, new job, new friends. Gabriel and Samantha can keep their great love story. I'm writing my own story now, and they're not part of it anymore.